A great team will always beat a great player. No matter how talented they are, they will always get overmatched by a more talented team in a 7-game series. That's exactly what happened to these players that we're about to mention. For this list, we're going to be mentioning 5 player runs that were so good that they had to be included in the top 50 greatest playoff runs by a player that was featured in the all-time greatest NBA book, written by yours truly. The link is in the description box for you to get your copy today. Now on to the countdown. At number 5, we're going to start with the 1993 playoff run by Charles Barkley. Here are the per game and advanced numbers that he posted for that postseason. From a statistical standpoint, Barkley did as good of a job as any player has ever done with carrying their team to the finals. He currently has the 17th highest win shares and the 25th highest value over replacement player rating for a single playoff run. Barkley struggled a bit in the first round, but his play picked up in the semifinals against the San Antonio Spurs. In the last 2 games of the series, he had some noteworthy clutch moments. With the Suns trailing by 5 points going to the fourth quarter of Game 5, Barkley erupted for 19 points for the final period. He shot 6 of 7 from the field and he even scored 13 consecutive points. Then in Game 6, he had one of the most memorable clutch moments of his career. He made the game-winning shot on the top of the key over David Robinson with 1.8 seconds remaining. It was a tough shot over one of the game's best defensive players. In the conference finals against the Seattle Supersonics, he was able to make some history. With the Suns and Sonics trading victories, Barkley had a monster game in Game 5. He had the stat line of 43 points on 72% shooting, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Most of his assists were thanks to the hot shooting of Dan Marley, who went 8 of 10 from the 3 that game. Then when the series was extended to 7 games, Barkley somehow outdid himself. He ended that game with 44 points on 60% shooting and 24 rebounds. He is known as one of the greatest rebounders of all time, and he dominated the boards in this game. He had a total of 10 offensive rebounds, and he created so many second chance opportunities for his teammates. That was showcased in the fourth quarter when he had 15 points and 12 rebounds. It ended up being one of the greatest playoff performances ever. Barkley and Elgin Baylor remain the only players to record a 40-20 performance in a Game 7. That is also tied for the 5th highest scoring total in a Game 7. The unfortunate thing for Barkley was that he had to face Michael Jordan in the finals. He averaged 41 points per game on 50% shooting. There was nothing Barkley could do. However, he did a magnificent job at carrying his team to the finals, and if it wasn't for Michael Jordan having the most dominant performance in finals history, he would have won the title. There's no shame in losing to that man. At number 4, we have the 2017 playoff run by LeBron James. Here are the per game and advanced numbers that he posted for that postseason. He currently has the 24th highest PER, the 27th highest win shares, and the 30th highest value over replacement player rating for a single playoff run. Here's the reality of this playoff run by the King. He was in a rare win-win situation, playing against arguably the greatest team in the finals. If he beats them, he's the GOAT. If he lost, no one can reasonably hold it against him. His spot here has a lot to do with our perception of that final series. But he first had to go through his Eastern Conference opponents, and the Cavs dominated everyone. They lost only 1 game on their road to the finals. There was nothing they could do to stop LeBron. For example, he was part of one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history. He led the Cavs to a victory in Game 3 of the first round series against the Indiana Pacers after being down by 25 points at the start of the second half. LeBron ended the game with 41 points on 52% shooting, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists. He also went 6 of 12 from the 3-point line. The Cavaliers prevailed despite Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love combined to score 26 points on 8 of 29 shooting. So in the fourth quarter, Kyrie and Love stayed on the bench and LeBron turned into a one-man show. According to ESPN Stats and Info, LeBron scored or assisted on 73 points, the most in a playoff game in his career. This is one of the many examples that proves to me that whenever LeBron decides to shift his game into 5th gear, there's nobody more dangerous in the game of basketball. In the semifinals against the Toronto Raptors, LeBron put on a shooting clinic. In their 4-game sweep, LeBron averaged 36 points per game on 57% shooting, 8.3 rebounds per game, and 5.3 assists per game. He also shot 48.1% from the 3. LeBron was so bored after beating the Raptors by over 20 points for a second consecutive game that he decided to shoot with his left hand. But if he was looking for a challenge, then he got his wish when he played against the Warriors. Even while being the first and only player to ever average a triple-double in the finals, the Cavaliers were only able to win one game against the Warriors. For the finals, he averaged 33.6 points per game on 56% shooting, 12 rebounds per game, and 10 assists per game. He needed to be perfect to have a shot at winning this series, and that's too tall of a task for just about anyone. Even with losing in a gentleman's sweep, his numbers are too staggering to dismiss what he accomplished for this postseason. At number 3, we have the 1969 playoff run by Jerry West. Here are the per game and advanced numbers that he posted for that postseason. He currently has the 22nd highest win shares for a single playoff run. Jerry West was legendary out of necessity. His teammates Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain were struggling a bit in the playoffs. For example, in the semifinals against the San Francisco Warriors, Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain both averaged 12 points per game for the series. Jerry West had to carry the load, as he averaged 31.8 points per game on 49% shooting, 8.8 assists per game, and 4.2 rebounds per game. The Lakers won the series in 6 games after being down 2-0 in the series. After beating the Atlanta Hawks in 5 games in the conference finals, they faced a Boston Celtics team that won only 48 games that season. Bill Russell and Sam Jones were both playing in their final year. The Lakers were overwhelming favorites, but somehow the Lakers needed Jerry West to carry the load again. And he did not disappoint. In Game 1, he had the stat line of 53 points on 51% shooting, 10 assists, and 3 rebounds to help the Lakers win by 2 points. That is the 3rd highest scoring performance in finals history. The Lakers then had a golden opportunity to take a 3-1 series lead, and it was all thanks to Jerry West again. In Game 4, he had the stat line of 40 points on 50% shooting, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Meanwhile, Elgin Baylor and Wilt combined to score 13 points on 5 of 20 shooting. The Lakers still could have won, as they had a 1-point lead with 7 seconds left in the ball. However, after receiving an inbound pass along the sideline, Baylor was controversially ruled to have stepped out of bounds. Then Sam Jones made the game winner to avoid being down 3-1 in the series. Then in Game 7, Jerry West made some history. He had 42 points on 48% shooting, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists. This was the highest scoring total while also posting a triple-double in finals history. Jerry West won Finals MVP for the first and only time for a losing team, as he averaged 37.9 points per game on 49% shooting, 7.4 assists per game, and 4.7 rebounds per game. His points per game average in the finals is the 5th highest mark ever. For comparison, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 11.7 points per game for the series. He shot a total of 58 times, which was less than players like Johnny Egan and Keith Erickson. I'm no basketball expert, but maybe the greatest scorer of all time should shoot more than them. If only his star teammates could have played like champions for that series as well, and maybe they could have avoided such a bitter defeat. At number 2, we have the 1974 playoff run by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Here are the per game and advanced numbers that he posted. He currently has the 12th highest win shares total along with LeBron James in 2016, and he has the 28th highest value over replacement player rating. We know Kareem for his legendary scoring ability, but he was also able to display his underrated passing ability in the last 2 games of the semifinal series against the Lakers. In Game 4, he had the stat line of 31 points on 67% shooting, 16 rebounds, 8 assists, and 6 blocks. He was also able to record 8 assists in the following game that eliminated LA in a 22-point defeat. In the following series, the Chicago Bulls had no answers on how to contain Kareem. They believed that guarding him straight up was a way to beat this team, according to Sports Illustrated, and that was a big mistake. He averaged 34.8 points per game on 66% shooting, 19.5 rebounds per game, 3.8 assists per game, and 2 blocks per game. His best game of that series came in Game 2 when he had 44 points on 69% shooting, 21 rebounds, and 3 blocks. The lesson that the Bulls learned is that it's never a good idea to guard a player like Kareem straight up. That's why the Bulls got swept by the Bucks and they lost the series by an average margin of 14.3 points per game. As far as his finals performance, many basketball historians say that Kareem deserved to win the finals MVP. He was clearly the best player of that series, and he did just about as much as a player could do to help his team win the title. He averaged for the series 32.6 points per game on 52% shooting, 12.1 rebounds per game, 5.4 assists per game, and 2.1 blocks per game. His greatest moment came in that classic Game 6 when he made the game-winning sky hook with 3 seconds left in the second overtime. It's still one of the greatest clutch moments in NBA history. Then in Game 7, the Celtics decided to put all their attention on him and force others to win the game. That game plan worked in favor of the Celtics. On the other hand, Kareem decided to dare Dave Cowens to make outside shots, and he made him pay. The Celtics won convincingly, but there's no shame in losing to one of the best teams of the 70s, especially if you're able to put up the kind of fight that he put up against them. Kareem's play was as flawless as you could get without winning the title. At number 1, we have the 2018 playoff run by LeBron James. Here are the per game and advanced numbers that he posted. This playoff run features the highest value over replacement player rating, the second most total points scored, as well as the second highest offensive win shares, the 5th highest win shares, the 6th highest PER, the 7th highest box plus minus, and the 8th highest offensive box plus minus ever. There was also a few other records that LeBron was able to break during this postseason. He had a total of 8 40-point games, which is tied for the most for a single playoff run along with Jerry West in 1965. He also scored the most points in a single postseason heading into the finals with 612 points. This might have been the greatest individual run we have witnessed since the start of the millennium. He was doubted so many times that his streak of making it to the finals for an 8th consecutive year was going to end. And every single time, he reminded the NBA world why he was the greatest player in the world, and it wasn't even close. There are too many examples that we could use from this postseason, but we can mention a few notable games. We have Game 5 of the first round series against the Indiana Pacers, where LeBron had one of the most memorable clutch moments of his career. He made this tough three-pointer at the buzzer that gave the Cavs a much-needed victory. He ended the game with 44 points on 58% shooting, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. Then in Game 7, he had 45 points on 64% shooting, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 steals. That is tied for the 4th highest scoring total for a Game 7 in history. In the following series against the LeBron Raptors, he added a second buzzer-beating shot during the playoffs. With 8 seconds remaining and the game tied, LeBron ran the full length of the court, glided off 1 foot toward the baseline, and made this ridiculous one-handed floater off the glass to win the game. Then against the Boston Celtics in the conference finals, he added 2 more 40-point performances. And then he had to find a way to carry his team on the road in Game 7 without Kevin Love. He got the job done and carried his team with such underwhelming talent to the finals. Up to this point, he already done enough for us to label this playoff run as legendary. But then he tops it all off with having one of the greatest finals performances of all time. He had 51 points on 59% shooting, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. That is the 5th highest scoring mark for a finals game. If George Hill would have converted a free throw, or if J.R. Smith would have simply known that they were playing offense, LeBron would have completed an upset as big as when Allen Iverson had that legendary win against the Lakers in 2001. His teammates let him down, and they ended up getting swept against that super team. But he was good enough to beat that team by himself, and that just shows how incredible he was for that postseason. Well, that concludes this list. Are there any other playoff runs that you would have added to this list? Be sure to comment with your opinion, and thanks for watching the video.